Hey, Taco here. Come with me and as I test out a few things, and especially the view you're seeing right now. So hope you enjoy the quick flight. This was a 15-minute flight with Jake right after work, so I didn't have a whole lot of time. Here comes Jake, and he's got, I think it's the Luna, but he's got a BGD wing too that looks a lot like mine. So I was really pleased with this takeoff. I blew my first inflation. I started running and then it just didn't feel good. So I had to stop and reset, and the wind had completely died. So I really enjoyed this takeoff. It felt real good the second time around. And there is Travis recording me. First thing you see is this new view. So I've had it for a while, but I haven't really used it. So this new view you see is actually a GoPro mag mounted under the wing. So it's got a little magnetic sort of a plate that goes inside the wing. And then there's another one that goes outside the wing with a GoPro clip on it. And so everything is screwed down tight. And what I did was I have a piece of string, or very small paracord with a clip on the end of it, and so I put it back there with my behind my V lines just a little bit. And what I did was I took what they call a mitten hook, which is a little tiny, like 1-inch long hook, and so I clipped the GoPro to one of the cascade holders on the bottom of the wing, so one of the little fabric loops that holds the wing line. So worst case scenario, the GoPro falls off. It won't hit me in the head, it won't go through the prop, and it won't fall 1,000 feet down to somebody's property and go through their windshield or kill somebody. This was a quick flight. You see him on my blue monosuit again. This was a quick flight, just staying around the local area, staying around the airport. I was wanting to test out a few things. One of the things I was wanting to test out, of course, was this GoPro. And the view came out really nice. I almost wish I would have tilted. Now this is the Insta view, of course, from my swing arm. But the GoPro view, I almost wish I would have tilted it down just a little bit more, so you could look down on me from above. You can't even see me. It's just a nest of lines. So that sucks. And in a little bit, there's going to be a view where you can actually see the GoPro camera stuck on the bottom of the wing. Travis says that might have been one of the reasons I blew my first inflation, was I was trying to get the GoPro, trying to get the wing up, and then, with the added weight of the GoPro on it. But honestly, I'm not sure how much it could actually weigh. There's that fire again. People just been burning like crazy. Now it is cold, but that looks like something in the yard. People burning off leaves and branches and stuff. But we just stayed around the airport. So other than the GoPro, my other test was I had rewired my my PPG Smoke thing. I wanted an easy way to take the button on and off, and to move the cable around and stuff like that. Sometimes you don't need the cable, and honestly I was scared I would tear up. You can see me grabbing the button right there. Honestly, I was afraid I was going to tear up that little clip they use, or that little socket connector they use. It's only about a 1/4 inch wide, and it's got 3 little prongs in it, and I could just see myself trying to put it in the wrong way and just totally destroying the connection. So I didn't want to take that on and off every time I wanted to use the button or not, the smoke button. So what I just decided to do was, and I'll do a video on it next time I'm at the airport, but I cut into that line and I installed a 1/4 inch good old-fashioned extra large stereo plug, like a headphone jack basically. So I had the male one and the female one. And now if I want to take my smoke, there goes Jake. Now if I want to take my smoke machine plug, or push to start button off, it's as simple as pulling a headphone jack out of a holder. So yeah, Jake's goal, of course, was to do what you see him doing now from way down there, is to do a bunch of acrobatic work, and he'll pop off the smoke machine here in a minute. I didn't use my cockpit voice recorder this time. It was on and recording, but I just didn't have a whole lot to say. We weren't going anywhere. Now, the cable you see coming out of the top of my seat, right under where it says power seat light, that's my radio cable. And what I'm thinking of doing is moving the smoke button to that side, the same side as the radio cable. Now, under there is also my risers for my reserve. So I have to make sure that everything is layered the right way. Because if I have to toss my reserve someday, I don't want the risers getting caught up and ripping out all sorts of other stuff. And I want it to deploy smoothly. So I have to make sure that the risers are actually on top of the other things. So in case of a reserve deployment, the risers rip out the way and leave the radio button and the smoke button behind. Jake comes up behind me like he's the Red Baron. Coming in high from behind. I thought it was real funny. And I didn't realize this at one point, right before I land, he's coming in close and he was going to do a wingtip touch. And I told him after I landed, he's like, oh, I was going to come and bump wingtips with you. I was like, let's arrange this ahead of time. Like, okay, I'm going to come up, I'm going to go over the field, I'm going to come down low, and you come in and wingtip touch me, or, I'm going to get up to 500 feet and you come bump wingtips. That's okay, but that's something you should warn me about. I'm okay with the wingtip bump as long as I'm the one flying straight and the other person's the one coming in. I do have it on good authority that those trees are just being cut and then replanted. That's not actually going to be a housing development, which is what I was worried about. I do love the view from the GoPro up here. And, it's even higher than I am looking down on me, but it's so smooth. There's no vibrations. Only when you hit a little turbulence or something and the wing, shakes a little bit, is there any sort of vibration, but it's just so smooth. You see there's a little bit of vibration from my Insta camera. I'm not sure why that is. It hasn't done that in a while. I was at a kind of a low, I think I was at a low idle here. I don't have my computer up, volume up, so I can't listen to what's actually going on. But I think I'm at a low, at an idle or at a very low speed. So we'll have to look into that more. Might be the way my Instagram camera, or excuse me, Insta360 holder was set up. I find it vibrates in certain positions worse than others, which is why I don't have the GoPro on that side anymore either. The GoPro was just terrible with the vibrations. Okay, let's see if we can find Jake. And I think might have been the time. Yeah, there he is. I think this was the time that I was going to come in and just do kind of a low pass over the field, and then I saw Jake's playing around down there. Yeah, there goes the smoke. And so I didn't want to be coming in directly at him. Also, that would have been not really downwind, but it wouldn't have been a whole lot of room for error if the motor quit on my low pass. I would have been in a crosswind situation. Even though the wind right at ground level isn't bad, the wind up here at 500-600 feet is going pretty good across the airport. There's one good view, and I'll see if I can point it out. There's one good, when I make a turn and it looks like I'm sliding on wet roads or icy roads. I just kind of drift around the corner. It's really funny. Just rows and rows of trees. You see it a little bit here. just making a gentle turn, but I'm drifting. Head on a swivel this time, with Jake playing around and doing acro back and forth across the airfield, and then me just kind of, I wanted to get lower and lower and do some some lower passes, trying to maintain a specific altitude, just straight and level flight, but at a lower altitude. But with Jake all over the place, I was kind of scared to get much lower than I was. So I come in decent pass, but it's not a low level pass. So it's kind of hard to see whether or not I'm going straight and level. I needed to be down there closer to the tree line. There's a fine line between using your throttle and using your brake toggles and all that to keep yourself at a consistent altitude. Worst case scenario, you screw up and you land it. But of course, if you land too fast, you slide in on your knees. The GoPro camera did take me off because I'm still having trouble with the telemetry. It would have been fun to have the telemetry up on, from the GoPro up under the wing. Oh, there goes the smoke. I ordered another gallon of Diddy oil. I'm definitely going to have to cut back on using it for a couple of reasons. One is it's $27 for a gallon, and my little pump holds a liter, so that's about 4 full bottles, or a little less. I don't always fill it up, so let's say 4 flights. If I use an entire jug each flight, that's 4 full flights. Something weird happened right here. As I was coming over the tree, I felt like I hit a bump, like a literal pothole. So I don't know if it was a little thermal. I don't know, but I looked around and I've gone over the video several times. I don't see anything wrong. It was just noticeable enough that I looked up like, hey, did the GoPro fall off the thing? And so I look up and see if the GoPro's swinging around, but it wasn't. I was like, well, what's going on up there? And so I'm looking all around like, okay, is anything wrong? So it almost felt like something was caught up and then kind of untangled itself. But I was flying fine until then, and it's just a little bump, and then that was it. There's Jake straight ahead. So I'm not sure what actually happened, but it felt weird. And then right over the trees, of course. So I think at this point I've had enough and I'm coming down. It's really cold. I was able to get my gloves on mid-flight, which was fun. I'd taken them off after I blew my first inflation. This is where Jake's trying to catch up to me. And he can do it because he can drop down. His wing's faster than mine. But he's going to come around your left-hand side, but my right-hand side. And then at this point, I'm like, yeah, it's time to land. And something happens with the Instagram camera. I don't know if I bumped it. I don't think the battery ran out. But something happens, and about 6 feet off the grass, the Instagram camera cuts out. It's really strange, but the push button went well. I didn't get to do as much actual like pattern work and coming out. There he comes, and then he's like, "Oh wait, he's landing. I'm gonna wave off," because he didn't want to land. He's got his chase camera going. So right coming up in just a second is where my camera will cut out. And so all you're left with is this view of me. Yeah, I botched the landing. I don't know what I did. I started to touch down, and then I like tripped, and I wound up sliding on my knees. But anyway, have fun. Don't go splat.